Good evening, it's Pom from Pallatrax, yet again, my Sunday slot live feed. Now, as I start everyone off, because I am a complete technophobe, and even worse, Tinny's not here tonight, so I'm doing this all on my own, so it's bound to go wrong, because it goes wrong when it isn't. So, at the moment, I'm not seeing anything, so I don't even know if it's working. Is anybody there? Is anybody there? Oh, one little icon's bobbed up. One day it'll all happen, I'll get this sorted, but I think I'll probably have the normal problem tonight when I can't see any comments. And if that's the case, I'll have to go on to my other, oh sorry, I'm so ill prepared, I've actually snuck off because Matt had a cracking, oh it's gone, it's working! Good evening, Keith Powell, good evening, spoke to you shortly. Andre, all the way from Slovakia, seen some lovely little films you're doing. Hopefully you're going to come and see us at Budapest. Are you coming? So good evening to everybody. Please bear with me because it's been an exciting day. I've had to work, but come on, I'm living the dream. I'm working in our hobby. But seeing how the fish are progressing on my pools down in Ashmansworthy Pools. Evening, Stephen. Evening, Anthony. Pete. Mick, how you doing? Cool. Look at the state of me. It's because I've been running around because I've got everything late and because Tinny's not here to help me. But there's a few people here. Hi, Colin. Looking forward to seeing you soon. So there's a couple of things we'll kick off with. Oh, dear me. Can't get into the method, Mick Bad. Looks like... Ah, that's fantastic, Andre. We will speak this week. Let's have a call this week. Have a good catch-up, my friend. Andre distributes Pallatrax in Slovakia and beyond, potentially. So... that's how I know Andre. So, Neil Rudd, good evening. Let's hope a few people join us. Lee Norris, how you doing, mate? And this is great. I'm actually getting comments. Long may it last. So there's loads of things on the agenda this evening. And I don't really know where to start. But we will. We'll start at the beginning and see where we go from there. But let me just fiddle around here a second. Evening, Stephen. How you doing? Now I'm trying to get a float stop out. Aren't you impressed with how professional this all is? I bet you're not. Or are you? Right, hang on a second. Right, so there's a couple of things I've been asked to highlight. But firstly, hi Paul, how you doing? Trevor, how you doing? Just in a tiz as always. Just trying to get everything ready. Now I need a stone. You think I've got a few of them. Stand by. I will be back. I'm back. I hadn't run away. Oh, too much going on. John, Goodham, how you doing, sir? Welcome to the live feed. So in a second, I'm going to... Oh, now I need a rubber bead. One sec. I'll have to use a tulip bead because I don't know, it's all a bit of a mess. What's going on there? It's telling me that I've got a live feed. So, if you've got any questions, obviously just shout out. So the first thing I'm going to show you actually, because I've done it wrong already, is because this is part of the demo. And if you've seen on Team Pallatrax, I was demoing a paste yesterday, did a little short clip. So basically, if you would like to win this little bundle of goodies, which is, some of the powders, some of the glugs, some of the strawberry glugs, strawberry flavour boosters, and some of our amazing grips, third design hooks, which are literally creating a revolution. A revolution is just to change your mindset, and certainly a lot of people are getting involved with them. Who have I missed here? Simon, did I say good evening? John, Darren, good evening, everybody. So, right, the first thing I'm going to show is I had lots of people asking me over the last couple of weeks how to... competition. God, Terry, good evening, sir. All you got to do, if you would like to win that bunch of goodies, is just send yes on Alan. Good evening, sir. Just send yes to the Facebook Messenger page here. I think that's how it is. So just send yes, and we'll pick it up, and it will get drawn at random. Giovanni, how you doing? Good. Oh, by the way, congratulations, Alan, for his new PB. He had he had two PBs he broke down when he was down here. And congratulations to Matt, the fishery manager, who today has. Well, I'm really pleased because that's the third fish to go over the 30. So it's not all about big fish, but the fact is, if they're fat and healthy, Paul, bonjour. I'm a happy chap. So, yeah, congratulations to Matt. That mirror was 29-ish. I think it was in March. Haven't seen it since. Just shows you, small pools aren't the easiest pools in the world. And then, it's obviously gone through the spawn. It's definitely a female. So it spawned out. And then, we're now talking 2 months after the spawn. And that fish has gone 31.4. And I weighed it with me Reuben Heatons. So I'm more than happy. And having handled so many fish over the year, you get a rough idea. Right. So the first thing I'm going to do is show you how I hide my rig when I'm fishing my method mix. So we're going to whiz the old camera around here, and you might have seen this before, but I'm just going to make up a method mix. So don't forget, if you're in for tonight's raffle prize, loads of goodies there. All you've got to do is send yes to Pallatrax Facebook Messenger. So here we go. Some of you will have seen this before. Sue Graham, my wing lady, is back. Sue, we're going to Budapest. Hope you got your bag packed. It's all happening. Right, here we go. There we go. Something's worked for once. So all I'm going to do here is make up some method mix. So again, you hear me banging on about it. It's all about the ingredients. This is absolutely the highest quality fish food. Lots of things from the fish farming market. That's where I tend to, hunt out extra edges and things like that. It's all regulated. Now, when you're normally making it, make sure you're using water from the lake you're at if you can. It's all, or the canal or the river, or wherever you use it. I use method mix because I can use it for so many things. It's method mix, it's a ground bait, it's a paste. You can add an egg to it and boil it off and create boilies. So it's that kind of really good base. But a lot of people have asked me, how do I kind of basically cast it out into weed without tangling? And I'm going to show you now. So all I'm doing here is I'm going to add some of this gamma shrimp. Now the gamma shrimp is very similar to our own natural shrimps that we get over here in our waters. Same family. And so I'm going to add that into there. And the main reason for that is you'll see very quickly. I'm sure many of you will have seen this before. So I get my method mix to a nice consistency. So then the old stone system. So I've got stone, I've got a tulip bead there. So I'm actually fishing running. Oh, so tulip bead sets there, and all I've got is a multi-worm 40mm pop-up, which the non-toxic shot there is basically designed for the weight. Let me see if I can move a light. I seem to be getting quite. Let me try and bring it into the light. So non-toxic shot. So first things first, you get a pat. Evening, Will. How you doing? So you just get a pat and flatten that down. All right. Easy peasy. That's the beauty of the system. You're fishing at a very, very kind of advanced level using really high quality baits. But the tactics are, so proven that, those who have said it's a gimmick, I can assure you I don't do gimmick. I've been fishing for a better part of 50 years. And if you're in a position like I am in this industry, I strive just to do the best. So what I'm doing now is wrapping that around, and I'm not going to really, really push down on it because obviously the harder you push down, if you add an oil content to it, something like that, basically it'll take slower to break down. But I'm just trying to show you. So now this is the key thing that people have asked me. So I'm hanging out the bottom. Some people wrap it back in and all kinds of weird and wonderful things. Obviously each to their own. So what all I do is I push the shot and then fold the line around it. Now there is something else to fish off. Now one of the things I used to be horrified or scared of in the old days, so basically you've got your cannonball, and I would throw that, cast that into not stupidly thick weed. I'd never fish that, that's dangerous, but 1 second, let me wash my hands. I've got no cider. Oh, dear me. My Sunday treat. But now, ages ago, I can remember actually Solar first brought this out. This is maize starch. What's hanging on, come from gigantic the week before last, ended up fishing the same week as down out in the quarter balls. Absolutely happy days. One of the non-toxic ships made from, they are zinc. They're zinc. You know, the trouble is nothing is anything really non-toxic. Well, stone isn't, but zinc is definitely better than lead. And it's quite interesting, to be quite honest. They're looking at things like tungsten, and see the lead ban. What it'll do is it'll actually create innovation, and will be offered and they will find, because they exist, to be fair, better non-toxic options. So, but yes, so those shots are zinc. They're made in this country for me. So, right, sorry, I've digressed yet again. So all I'm taking is one of these. This is maize starch. So it's 100% natural. It's used as a packing filler, a natural one, but it's due to its kind of makeup. It's water soluble, totally toxin free. So what I'm doing now is I should have actually done this before I loaded up my method ball. I like to get it all right. I like to make it all. So what I'm doing is I'm stopping this from tangling. And I do this, to be quite honest, on every time I cast out. And I cut it thin because I'm only trying to close, well, I'm not trying, I'm closing the gape and trapping the hair. So let me just do this a second. So I'm just literally, I can't do it, but it'll be obvious in a second. Oh, let's pull it out, start again. So all I'm doing, right, we're going to take it apart and we'll show you properly. So you just literally sit that in there and you are literally closing the gape. So it's just a thin sliver, and that will literally close the gape when you're casting. So especially when you're going into weed, this will all hold together. So going back to where I was, pushing the shot back into the... if I'm missing any questions, I do apologise. I'm a bloke, I can only do one thing at once. And even then, sometimes it's... So there we go. And then you would cast this. So now let's look at the tank. Let's try and get in close. And so you'll see how the way, God, true professional. You'll see how the gamma shrimp within it will really kind of make things happen. And that's what I want. So basically, that will just sit there. Let me just go back and see if I can zoom in. And that, oh, my wife's in the room. She's coming home. That's a bit of luck. So yeah, so what you've got there, and anybody who's seen the stone system and know why I've developed it, so you've got pure food, it's exploding out, the excess is wrapped back into the method mix, and we'll just leave that for a couple of seconds. Let's see if we've got any comments on the go here. Mr. Shaw, hope you're all well, sir, after your troubles and woes. Hope you're getting ready to look after the fishery as well. What's the maximum thickness you would be using? Oh, it's a difficult one, Neil. I won't fish in... I like fishing in weed because basically that's where the fish are. That's where all the food is. You know, it's a bit like if you look at a field. I was talking to Matt earlier. You know, I'm not saying things won't cross the field or even hang around the field, but they tend to hang around the margins. So with me, I'm aware that fish will gravitate to weed. They hide in the weed, it gives them cover, and it's full of, actually, things like these shrimps. Yeah, absolutely full of. Look at that, how that Gammarus has held that up. Like I say, it's really cool stuff. You can use it in lots of different ways. I'm going to be doing some films next year to show some really interesting stuff we've done with it. I mean, you wouldn't mind that, would you, if you were fishing a zig rig? So that's what you're creating. And what I do like, see, I fish steam link an awful lot, probably 90% of the time. But what I do as well is fish this rig. And what I do like is the fact is that it really sits amongst the mix. So it really is covered up. All these bits are blasting around. And the fact is that I'm sure, because that's so much food, I'm sure the majority of the time the fish are just homing in on this. But also the fact is, because it's a braid and you'll be giving it some excess, so we're giving it some slack. When the fish do pick it up, it really does draw back into their mouths. So that's it. It's really, really easy to do. You won't get tangled. I fish, don't get me wrong, I fish this in open water. I fish it all over the place. But for me, it's done me proud. And not just for carp. I have caught some ridiculous amounts of tench fishing into the reed like that. Neil, Neil's talking about, sorry, I've missed a few comments here. Neil, 1 foot, 2 feet. It's not really about that. It's the density of the weed. Let me just turn myself back so you can see my chiseled looks. Yes, it's not about the height really, to be quite honest. Like kind of lakes I fish, like Gold Lake, which is on the Burfield, advanced angling, and, Horseshoe, that's another one I fish regularly, pretty weedy water in certain swimmers. But you just got to be careful, because at the end of the day, if you're dragging fish through a great big ball of weed, that's not good. So it's really try to be sensible. I don't fish into thick weed at all. I fish into weed that isn't thick, but gives them enough density and enough cover, and it just holds so much food. It's amazing how much food it is. My young son has just. I love a cider and black. Cider and black. Good evening, Mr. Higginson. Spoke to him earlier. He's one of our catfish and carp men. Been catching loads of on the new hook, which is interesting. The new catfish rig, which will be launched next month. So going back to weed. Fantastic tactic, and what happens if you think about it, because we've dived on it, snorkeled on it and things like that, and we'll be doing a lot more diving coming forward, lots of exciting stuff going on behind the scenes. As you know, as we've grown, it gives me the ability to do so many more things that I've developed and haven't been able to bring to market for one reason or another, and now getting exciting. But I've digressed all over the place. So anyway, that must sit in, so it dives, where I've watched it, it goes into the weed, and it's almost like a meteor, it leaves a trail behind it, and then basically sits. It must, presentation-wise, it must be horrific, but the fish aren't swimming through clear water, they're swimming through weed, and it's got sticks and bits and bobs in it. So does that help us, because it conceals the line? I don't know. We will never know, but what we do know is if they can sense it, we can see it, and opposite, if we can see it, they can sense it. So I'm never ever going to say, that's a stone bonker, but it has caught a ridiculous amount of fish fishing into the weed, a great big ball of food. They must be coming across it and then endeavouring into, obviously my baits or food baits, or even my pop-ups, they've all got food content to it. But that method mix, ground bait, the Daphne maggot or the carp crush, it's just absolutely loaded with really high quality fish farming gear. So it's definitely food, it's definitely regulated. So if you've got any questions, just do shout out. I'll just give another shout out now whilst I clear. So basically tonight's prize, if you're interested, it's a free draw with there's grips hooks, and there's basically the stuff I'm going to do the next demo with. So if you've got any questions, like I say, just ask away. What's the weather like wherever else? It's absolutely awful here. It's like really hot and really muggy, but obviously the fish are having it after Matt's success. So hopefully I'll just go back to that so you can have a another look before. Let's try and zoom in. And so obviously you're just left with that. And if you go in there, I have to use my hand because I'm useless, I haven't bought the thing. But I'm not saying I'm a fish, of course not. But you just show you that the minimal disturbance just keeps on pushing all of that out, and that is basically the stone system, and one of the rigs that we fish it. You're using a natural stone as your weight, as your method feeder. It's unobtrusive, so you're actually using a weight as an advantage, not using a weight that has loads of disadvantages, i.e. the lead, and the only advantage it has is it's a physical weight. So you could use a lump of stainless, would be more than good enough. Watching on the backside, Ian, good luck, matey. Where are we? Hang on a second, folks. Awful and a huge fast somewhere nearby that my lungs really don't like. Oh, poor old Sue. It's fantastic here in Essex. I know, it's over that side. My brother lives over that side, and it's always hot. Would a blob of Pallatrax coating delay the break-up of the mix and act as a brilliant attractor? Yes, Mick. That's the beauty of what this is. Evening, Steve. That is what the beauty is here. You'll come up with your own kind of interpretations, and consequently, you know, you'll think of things that I've never thought of, but other sorts of. I think that's that's really what Pallatrax is about. You know, when we don't follow the mainstream media narrative, you know, it's all in many ways bought and paid for through advertising, and that's life, that's general. But what happens if they've actually got the narrative wrong by not giving fish the credit that fish farmers give them, for example, and not using products that a fish farmer would never ever allow on their fish, you know, on their fish farm? So I come very much from that school, the koi keepers school. So yeah, here in Portsmouth it's sunny this morning and then cloud over. Warm, like, yes, really muggy here, Rich, like proper. I'm a fat bloater anyway, but it certainly made me perspire. Weatherspoon here, I thought it was Weatherspoon. Had a bit of thunder in the oh, it's all coming in. Sue, I've just messaged you. I'll leave Rich and Sue to talk. Right, now, when I get my son here, he can lift this tank off. Charlie is my able assistant this evening, once he's come back. Got Ben's gone off to uni, so my bathroom will be a lot cleaner and my fridge will be a lot fuller. But where is he? Where are you, Charlie?
Making you cider.
Oh, it doesn't. You're not. What? You're pressing the apples, son. Right. This is the thing I was talking about yesterday. What's the best flavour, junk cream and so on? Has got a lot of luck on squid and octopus. That's a good question, and at the same time, almost an impossible question to answer. Just shooting zombies. No, could you take that one for me? And oh my lord, just let me wet my whistle.
What this one?
Oh,
Pallatrax?
the joys of please. The joys of Sunday cider. Right, now I've got a bit more room as well, which is even better. So, Trev, good evening. We'll finish wretched work. Oh dear me. Yeah, no, he's actually been out with his girlfriend today, Charlie. So good on the man. Right, now, this is kind of going to, when I say next level, it's not meant to be said in any way. It's just, you know, it's a different kind of mindset. When you look at fishing like I do, where I'm not interested in 1,000 traps, you know, my mouse trap is really good. It's about where I put it. Excuse me, and the cheese that goes within it, if that makes sense. So, there's lots of ways to basically sex up your hook bait. A lot of time people just get a bait out of a bag, stick it on, chuck it out and think it's going to work. Well, sometimes it does. I think that's the unfortunate thing, because sometimes it actually does, and therefore it gives a false impression, you know. So I've always been like the match angler. When I fly fish, I'm very, very careful of, you know, the presentation of my flies. When I've sea fished, I've always tried to use the right baits at the right time, if the launch are running with the bass, you know, that kind of thing. But with carp fishing, we've become very, very stuck in our ways, to be quite honest. Packing gear away, just got back from down the bank. Lucky you. Do not flake on that. Sorry, Dave, no worries at all, mate. I've got your bed chair here for you, Dave, so that's all good. So, if you look at all these other areas of fishing, they're not as complacent as carp fishing, and which is now percolating into barbel fishing and tench fishing and things like that. If you look at the match angler especially, it's all about making that hook bait stand out, whether it's the freshest joker or squat, whether it's the freshest hemp or tear. You know, it's all about freshness, it's all about goodness, and it's all about the one that's on your hook stands out from the crowd, as in, evening Neil, hope you're well up there in the northern climes. So if you look at all those other areas of fishing, either they're wrong and the modern narrative is right, or the modern narrative is wrong. And I honestly believe a lot of the modern narrative doesn't consider other areas of fishing which are doing things exactly opposite. And people call me controversial. They call me, oh, you're only doing this trying to flog a few more stones. Or what the real deep question is people should be asking is, what if I'm actually, there's truth to what I'm saying? And fish over years now have got so wary of the obtrusive way we're fishing, and also so wary of bait. So how do we kind of introduce naturals and the natural goodness of some of the products I bring to the party? And this is going to show you how basically I've lost my bowl now. No, there we go. Right. Now let me just stick that. I've got honestly, it's just chaos because Tinny's not here. I am useless. Right, stand by, folks. At least you know it's in real time. it's not contrived. Oh dear me. Sometimes I just wish. I'm sticking a new factory up next year because thank you folks for the support. Giving for trips. Oh, good luck, Neil. And I'm going to have a little studio on this, so I'm not messing up the house and there's stuff all over the place. But anyway, so let's go back. Stay with me, bear with me, because this is interesting. Certainly, I'm not aware of anybody else doing this. If they are, great. And but they won't be able to do this because obviously most of it is. Oh no, what's gone wrong? Batteries. So we don't need one of these, but so that's my pilot hole and that's my main hole. So what I'm going to do first of all is I'm going to take, let me whiz the old screen around. So if you can just hold off from the questions at the moment. So the first thing is I'm going to do, let me try and make sure you can see what I'm doing. So I'm just going to carefully put. This is a pop-up. You can do this on bottom baits as well. Be very careful. I did drill my finger the other day in my enthusiasm. So, I mean, the hole size is really down to you, but that's the first stage. So I'm just going to change over now to an 8mm drill bit. So I'm going to have an 8mm hole. And it's all about, again, it's all about the prep. Like watching one half Troy's. Oh, leave me alone. Hail and Pace. If you're that old, you remember that. So what I'm going to do now is carefully go through and just make the hole bigger. It's no different than putting a hole in wood. Put your pilot hole through and then create your hole. So there we go. We've gone all the way through. It's just a fluoro. It could be any pop-up I make or anybody else's, I guess, as well. It's all about the ingredients. So this just makes it a little bit more visual for us. So if we go here, you'll see I'm just going to go through. Next season, I'm going to do a whole film about shapes of baits and show you all the machinery and one thing or another. It doesn't have to be round. If anything, it shouldn't be round. So there we go. So all I'm going to do now is, oh no, where's my rig? Oh, right, let me start off again. Right, stand by folks, something is happening. Must be what it's like watching paint dry, watching me half the time. So right, so I'm using the Steam Link rig here, grips, the wonderful grips, third hook design. Had I mentioned that before? I'm very proud of the grips. I think they're a little bit special, and I get so many independent, honest reviews. You know, we're not paying for clicks kind of thing, and people genuinely use grips now. Certainly over barbless. Right, so all I've done is whacked that on. So at the moment, you've just got a pop-up fluoro. Oh no, where's that? Oh, I've dropped it. There it is. I don't see the big boys doing films this badly. I think there's a little bit more scripting goes on. So again, got the long touch at sharp. I've got this £25 Steam Link, which is super stiff rig, and then I got a Dyneema in a core. So absolutely fantastic rotation. You'll never get rotation like that off anything other than Dyneema, because Dyneema is a completely unique product to its own self. So anyway, so we've got a hole there. So it's like watching. I keep on looking at that saying two Ronnies. You must be old, John. I know you. You must be old, because you can remember that. So let me try and clear all this mess over to the side. Just remember, there is a draw going on for a load of stuff. This is just one of the ones, and we're going to be using this very shortly anyway. So do just send yes to Facebook Messenger for the Pallatrax, this page here, and job will be a good one. Right, so again, it's almost like you make this your own journey, because there's so many different options with different flavours and different naturals. So the first thing I need, the reason I've done this, to be fair, this flavour. It's by a company called Pallatrax, who are really regulated, and Giles, the guy that owns it, he's a very, very clever bloke. So basically, I'm going to put some. If you give it 10 seconds in a microwave, you'll actually make it even thinner, but don't put it in for longer than that, because then you'll melt the pot. So the next stage is, so I've got that, folks, hope you can see that. And so you can do all and anything with different powders. So there is so much attraction there for candles. Yes. Evening, James. How you doing, sir? So all I'm doing, this one here, I'm just doing this. What I can say, I've never done this before with this one, silkworm and strawberry. So you never know. Right. So all I'm going to do now, this is where it gets sticky, and like I say, effort equals reward, I suppose. So I tell you what, silkworm, absolutely. You can smell it throughout multi-worm. There's a lot of silkworm in there. It's used a lot in the koi industry over in Japan, and they really know what they're doing. You know, their fish are worth, well, some of them are over $1 million. You think, dear me. But yeah, you've got to look after them. And silkworm is used as a bit of a treat. So what we're going to do is carry and add this, and this is something I suggest you do at home rather on the bank, because you can prep all this behind you. And basically you can have 3 or 4 of these different flavours. You can have a Daphne one, you know, you can use a neutral glug. I mean, since I did the film with Carpology, I mean, to be fair, people have really got their heads around that the glug is not some kind of gimmicky thing. Far from it. Again, it's all about the ingredients. And so I'm now prepared for you fine people to get very sticky. So there's my silkworm. This will be worth watching. I did. To be fair, I made some up earlier. A bit of a blue Peter. That's what the consistency I'm going to go in. But I'd rather show you step by step, and then if you did want to have a play around, then at least you can see this. So, like I say, you can make a lot of this, but it will make you really sticky. You can add something like like multi-worm base mix, something like that as well, or a yellow sea mix or a red sea mix, one of my base mixes, just to give it a bit more, I suppose body is the word. So I'm going to keep on working that, and working, and then I am going to end up with something that is nowhere near as sticky. Still, you can still feel it. It's still sticky-ish. But it's not like that is, and I'm not going to sit there because I'll be there for 10 minutes and that'll really bore you. Let me just wash my hands. Got a little bowl here. Nearly impressed myself until I realised I didn't have a baiting needle, and then I had to rush around, and that's why I got right. Got some this week. Really eat it myself. Yeah, I know it's terrible, isn't it? And strawberry is, like you say, yeah, Pallatrax, you know, they're very, very interesting backstory. They bought a company called R.D. Campbell, who I used to have a relationship. Unfortunately, very, very clever guy behind, to be quite honest, lots of the flavours used in the industry. Johnson, mate, right, OC, I like my rods pristine. Nah, pristine rods won't catch you any more fish, John. Come on. I got OCD. I don't care if my rods are mucky. I like them shiny and clean. Don't get me wrong. So, anyway, back to it. So there we go. Maybe you can see that. So what this one is actually, the one I made up. This is Jungle Glug with gamma shrimp powders. So I've just worked that. So let's just whiz on back round. Blue Peter does it much better. Don't be so cruel, Stephen. Steve Thompson, how you doing, sir? Right, let me just, which button do I press? Crumbs have got different, less mess. So, the first thing I'm doing, look at the mess. It is a mess, Neil. You're pretty right there. So, we've got the rig, okay, with the hole in it. Let me try and get it. So, the first thing, stage 1 is you get a little piece of this, and because it's so sticky, it's you know, you've got to get it to that consistency that is almost perfect. So it is a bit of trial and error. Just get that hole clear. And so what we're going to do, the first thing is we're going to get a couple of these little like tubes, and just going to make it the same size or slightly smaller than the hole. We'll whack that in, and that will actually really hold on because it's actually holding in there in the belly of the bait. So the good thing is you've got a double whammy here. So you've got a pop up or a bottom bait, and now you're blinging it with something that I cannot speak highly enough of. You know, these powders, it's my fault. You know, I kind of get involved with all this stuff for my own fishing, and then I forget that I sat there for hours on end and mapped around. As you can see, I'm getting in a bit of a mess here. This is actually, to be fair, I've got these two spotlights here. This is making it go really, really, really tacky. But it's, again, it's effort equals reward. It really, really does. Because the way fish feed, whatever species, it's really interesting if you study the biology of fish and see how they feed and what they do at different times. And what you do know for a fact is they are feasting on naturals. And, you know, ignore it at your own peril. I'm not saying, look at Matt today, he had that clonking new 30 out of Jack's pool, and that was on a pure fish farming pellet with such, you know, 17 mils, so it's got about 2 hour breakdown, so after 2 hours it was dissolved to dust. He fished over a hand of that. I've just noticed, because I thought, right, I'm going to get back onto those, because when I first had them I was using them catching quite a few fish, and just seeing they're out of stock. But those 17 mil pellets, like the new floaters, you know, they are a little bit special because it's what they're made of and how they're made. So basically you're going to end up with this sticky mess. So that's all like worked round, and it's not round because I'm making it round on purpose. It's just, that's the last shape in the world I want, but you will hopefully see very, very quickly. And so basically the prize tonight is all the component parts from this. Yeah, do send yes to the Pallatrax Facebook Messenger, and you're in with a shout of getting some freebies and some grips. So let me wash my hands again. So now you've got basically your pop-up, and this won't unfortunately work because, as in like the time, you know, it won't do what I want it to do in the time that is available. So next stage for me is I can either put it back in the glug and do this, or because it's still sticky and it will stay sticky, I can put, and this kind of creates a skin of silkworm around it. So as I was saying earlier, that's Matt Stunning Fish. Yes, he's a lucky man, this young Matt Rice. He did well. He worked hard for that washing line. A lot of people don't fish washing lines. So yes, so there we go. Steam Link rig, my go-to rig, pop up, because it's going. What will happen is this will drop off in time. Right, let's just try and zoom in. Stand by, folks. See if I can get it in shot. And so basically, that will now. There's so many ways to bling baits, but people aren't doing it. You know, you take a bait out of a packet and just try and get these lights down so you can get a better light on it. You know, blinging the bait, it's all the time in all other areas of fishing I've done. It's been a must. You know, match fishing in particular. You know, there's so much focus on the quality of the bait. So what you've got there at the moment, oh, it's all gone slightly wonky. What you've got there at the moment is your paste cover pop-up. What you can see coming off at the moment is that kind of skin of silkworm, the powder. And silkworm is, like I say, it's amazing. You know, its attraction levels. Let me just clean the window. So we're going to zoom in. And like I say, we won't get the best here because, hey, what am I doing now? So you can imagine going back to how we were fishing, you know, the demo I did a short while ago with the method. So you can imagine how reactive, you know, all this stuff is. It's not a gimmick. I don't do gimmick. I hate gimmick, to be fair, because I'm just like you folks. I'm just another angler. And when I see things come out and it's just making, you know, we're all talking about Matt's PB. Could you add? Is that spirulina, Dave? Without a shadow of a doubt. Without a shadow of a doubt, you can make that up. You can just get neat spirulina, crush it all up, or get the powder, and then just again work that in. And I've done quite a lot. And spirulina, you'll see some stuff coming out. Made your week, did it, Matthew? You don't get much time to fish. You do nothing but fish. Dear me, you liar. No, in all truthfulness, Matt, none of us actually get, you know, Jason's here as well nowadays, and we don't really get any fishing time now. It's just a couple of hours here and a couple of hours there, because we're on project. Could be a game. Well, to be fair, this is the thing, and it's not a case of me. We'll just leave that, and we'll come back to it in a bit. It's not a case of me ever hiding stuff. I kind of like. It's remiss of me, really, because I come up with these things, and lots of this stuff is from years ago when I was at Pallatrax, and you know, and subsequently since, you know, my fishing adventures still that since then. And the thing is, it all works. You know, I would not be putting it out here say, oh look, this is absolutely wonderful. It doesn't work. It's these kind of things are. I was talking to Keith yesterday, and he won't. I'm sure Keith won't mind me saying. If he does, so be it. No, but when I was talking to Keith yesterday, he had a great session last week. But we worked out, if you say a bite is 1 second, okay, so the fish to inhale and hook itself, okay. So he fished, and he had a great result, you know, in real terms. Fished the water he'd not really fished before, had 10 carp out, and fishing the fully loaded stone system as he does. He has complete faith and embrace the system, so to speak. But if you then realise you're in a lake with, let's just say, 300 fish, okay, and you're fishing for, your time equates to 50,000 seconds. So if you caught 3 fish, that's 3 seconds. What about all the other seconds? And that's where I am. Why, how can we catch more? And I personally believe the stone system's a game changer, but also there's other things that you can manipulate within it to actually even create more. How long will the past lesson can you freeze it? Well, because there's a sugar content, that's a good question, Stephen. It will last, some time, basically. It's a little bit difficult to say because obviously the different insects have different kind of shelf lives to them. Obviously it's dead, it's being blitzed into a dust, so it's therefore more susceptible to moisture, therefore rotting. And because I don't use synthetics as mold inhibitors or anything like that, but you can freeze it, as you rightly say. But what I tend to do, because I've got another fridge out in the factory, Tinny would whack me if I had all of these in the home freezer amongst all the cakes and pies. I wish. I'm hungry. I'm on another diet. I've lasted about 9 hours so far, and I know it's not gonna work. I'm gonna fall off the wagon. So so you can freeze it, but what I tend to do is I keep it in the fridge in little plastic sealy pots or a little grip seal bag, and it lasts quite a long time. I don't make loads of it because I don't need to. I freeze it and refreeze it if there's any. Yeah, exactly, Stephen. You know, you know, it is. You don't, with my stuff, you never need to use a lot of it. You know, you look at that, right? This here, and there is tons and tons of silkworm in there. Well, not really, but you know what I mean. There's a lot of silkworm in there that's been blitzed into the powder. And so you don't need to use a lot of this stuff. This is all of this stuff I do is in its purest form. Yes, I have to use some bulking agents, but I use the highest ingredient bulking agents I can get. But I need those sometimes to basically make things hold together. So yeah, loads of options. You look at all the different glugs I do and all the different powders I do. And like I say, we can sit there and I'm the first to talk about this because I say I'm cynical pom. Many call me Marmite or cynical pom. But the truth of the matter is, there is things we can do. We can innovate. You know, I see stuff coming on the market. I've had 2 tackle shops, and you sit there when the reps used to come around, and you think, oh, what's he going to bring? And it's like, oh, we've got a new thermal mug, and it's like, what? You know, that's not going to help me catch any first. Oh, have you seen a new bivvy? It's got a new front to it, and it's like, great. You know, if that rocks your boat. For me, I want to know what from the rod tip down, so the line and everything else, I want to be on top of and create that kind of mousetrap approach where I'm moving a successful mousetrap into different places and using different cheeses to tract on the day. Whether that's a good analogy or not, I don't know, but it certainly works for me. But you have to put the effort in. Don't get me wrong, I say to people when they come down to Ashramsworthy Pools, as long as they're happy and enjoy themselves, but personally, and it's just a personal thing, but I do know a lot of my friends that are very similar to it as well, is when we go fishing, we want to catch. You know, it creates those memory moments. Of course, sitting by the bankside or the beach side or the pier side or wherever you're fishing, it's nice and, you know, you're doing what you're doing, enjoying it. But I think more than the cherry on the cake, the actual cake for me, I shouldn't talk about cakes, I'm on diet, but the actual cake for me is the fish. You know, if I don't catch, I'm continually questioning me. Of course, sometimes you don't. Time's against you, one thing or another. Could you use carp crush in the first instance? Yeah, Mick. Yes, and sorry, I'm all over the place as well. But certainly, Mick. Yeah, I mean, the truth of the matter is, though, you're not going to get, don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to flog you, this stuff, it's either you like it or you don't kind of thing. But the thing is, it's the purity of the naturals. But you can certainly add any of my base mixes or things like that. But it's not as fine, you'll get different consistency, and don't forget, because you've now got different ingredients, you'll have a different dynamic just because it's a shape and it's sticky. But by all means, yeah, try it out. And because that base mix is a holistic base in the ground baits, or method mixes, whatever you want to call them, you'll be fine. But if you're looking for the edge from a natural edge, that's what these are for. You know, they really are. You can do so much with them. And you, as anglers yourself, will think about, oh, I wonder if I could try that. Because I love impregnating all my paste, the French HMV pastes I do. I love it when I get that, and so I do exactly the same. I get the paste and I just load it. I love Daphnia. Daphnia powders Daphne's everywhere. You know, it's one of those kind of things that just lives, you know, all and everywhere, to be fair. So, you know, in our water systems this time of year it's infested, so why wouldn't I try and match the hatch, so to speak, by using, you know, Daphnia in a format that I can actually hold a blob of it together. And what you'll see, I'm just going to go back. Sorry, I'm late in the good evening, Mark. I'm still warbling away for another 10 minutes. Well, just whilst you're here, because what's going to happen tonight, because I'm on my own sim, and I could ask Charlie, but it could all go horribly wrong. What we'll do is we'll have to draw this after I finish, and I'll put the winner up on the Pallatrax and Team Pallatrax page. So please bear with me. Talking about Team Pallatrax, just a couple of things. Coming very shortly is several. We have the exclusive team products, and just to update you, we will have the fluorocarbon mainline, if that's what I've been asked for it time and time again. Personally, I fish on the copolymers. I use the fluorocarbons in my hook links and leaders, but people are asking for that, higher abrasion resistant than copolymer. And also we are going to be bringing in the gamma torque. We are going to be bringing in that braid range, so watch the space on that. But currently those will be available, team exclusives. And don't forget, team members that are here, there is quite a nice little competition running. I launched it yesterday, so do get involved in that. So if we've got any questions, Def going to try and make it home mix from Pallatrax powders and sauce. Honestly, Giovanni, I like it as well, because I can give you kind of the tools, so to speak, but what you create is very much down to you. If you stay in those guidelines of actually basically, you know, it's going to be quality, you know, and, you know, it's good for fish and the general biomass, all those kind of things that Pallatrax, you know, champions, and we all champion, especially Team Pallatrax. But you can just play around with it, because you don't have to fish with a boiled bait. I suppose that's what I'm trying to say. You can fish that directly on the hook, for certain species. Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you fish a pure ball of Daphnia on your hook compared to a piece of a boilie or something like that? Are you going to do braid for spotting? I'm looking at it, Mark. I've got an option with this talk. It's very high quality. That is the trouble. It's like anything, you pay for what you get, and because it comes via America, all I can say, there may well be cheaper ones on the market, but it won't be torque. The higher breaking strains are actually hollow core, which is quite interesting. But all I'm saying is I'm involved in gamma. I rate them obviously very, very highly, and it's an option for us to have. But hand on heart, for spotting, I'd be lying to you to say any difference. You can get a really, really cheap braid out there. Just for spotting, it doesn't matter what colour it is or whatever. I mean, I must admit, I just use gamma for my spotting now. I use like £25 gamma, and because gamma's got hardly any stretch compared to normal copolymer, and that's what I tend to use on. It's a personal choice more than anything, but I'm certainly looking as the company grows. My interest is to reinvest into other things that we can get and be the best possible. And that's not said with any arrogance or any indulgence. That's just the way, whether it's my OCD, whether it's just my personal makeup or whatever. I want to go fishing with the best, but at the same time respecting the environment I'm fishing within. And that's, the more we move forward, we're revisiting everything we can. All of the new bags that are going to be coming out very soon, they're all biodegradable. Everything I'm doing is, I'm trying to do it the best I possibly can within the kind of infrastructure and logistics I've got. So, yes, we'll look at it, Mark, because if we want it, and there's loads of people want it, I've got the ability to source it, even if it's not gamma for spotting, because this stuff will be too expensive and too overrated to use as a spot tool. So right, what we're going to do, go back now. And this process, I was mucking around with it yesterday, and if you go on the team page, there is this is on the team page, but and it's been sped up. Just a quick one about grips hooks. If a fish goes into weed or loop pads, will the fish come off or you give it slack line? I'm still not caught on my grip straight pulling it. Blimey. I never ever slacken off when fish go into weed. For several reasons. I want to keep the pressure. I want to be in control. There's this kind of, again, you come back to the assumption. If I'm in control, so I'm fishing a tight line, I'm still connected to the fish. The assumption in with fishing slack lines, once the fish has gone into weed, it needs to rain. This is just my experience over all the years of fishing I've done. I always fish a tight line and give slight pressure, so as soon as the fish moves, I can put more pressure onto it. The assumption is let go, slacken off, and the belief that the fish will feel basically slackening off and will move away. Now, I'm not saying that doesn't happen, but it doesn't happen through design. What one fish might do, what one bit of weed might be dense compared to something that's less dense. So personally, if you're struggling, Steve, all I would say is I often down at the pools as me personally. I know one of your skills. I do actually, Steve, if you go onto the Ashmansworthy pools, you'll see that I do actually offer tuition, but it's only once a month, to be fair. And it's quite a full-on thing because we deep dive into everything. So going back to Anthony, so all I can say is I don't really know. You've only got to see the amount of people who are obviously using grips successfully. Don't know where you're fishing and one thing and another. But if you're not having success on that, the one and it is without a shadow the best selling grips is the wide gapes with the intern beak. So have a look at that one. But yeah, when it comes to I have to keep control of the fish, because if I don't keep in control of fish, I haven't got Scooby Doo what's going to happen. I really haven't. So, yes, I do tuitions, but it's very, very much one-to-one. It's very much deep. So, you can have a look at that. It's on the Ashmansworthy Pools page. Could you source plastic bait screws? I'm currently trying to... No, and yeah, these kind of things, you see. The trouble is with me, and it's one of my flaws, is a lot of the stuff I just, especially since having a shop, I just go, oh, do we really need this kind of stuff? And the guy that taught me Baldy Day fishing, it was we were using superior components, superior bait ingredients, and a lot of the stuff that's on the market now. And it's each to their own. I'm not here to. All I can do is draw you to the conclusions I've made. I'm not here to tell anybody how to fish or say this is an absolute wonderful product. You will catch loads of fish. The products speak for themselves. Once you get your head around that, Pallatrax is all about a totally different narrative, because we're going back to where we were, not to where we are now. Some of the stuff we're being sold is just ridiculous, to be fair. It's got no bearing on angling whatsoever, in my humble opinion. But when you come to anything plastic, we're going the opposite way, John. We're not getting into this. It's like, it's strange enough, I had a semi-complaint. It was more tongue in cheek, and I took it as that as well. But somebody basically said, why have you changed your packaging for your trebles? Now, when you've got trebles, you don't want them bashing around. You've got 3 different points on each hook and things like that in the packet. So initially, I had the little tip protectors on all of them. Didn't want that. Those are little bits of plastic again. Then you look at the treble protectors, and again, the cost of it gets passed on to the angler. So these plastic little protectors. And it's more plastic in the environment. So I actually put, it's Tinny's idea actually, put some of this in with the packaging. So it didn't look pretty, but this is totally natural. It goes through a humanised process of manufacturing, but basically it's as close as we can get to something that will do the job of holding the trebles in perfectly, but it doesn't look the part. And I think that's what we've got to be careful of. A lot of this stuff, it's meant to look the part, but it's as efficient as it could be or should be. So, if you're interested, Steve, it's quite intense. That's all I will say, because I want you to be able to leave. I close down a lake and supply all and everything. But you're more than welcome to book in. But I do. You'd probably best to give me a call, because the diary is always the challenge for me, especially with some of the things we do. But if I definitely will do my best to make sure to fit you in. Attentions, yeah, it is. It goes through all of the really salient points where I start off at Paddington, had the fish kill, and where the journey's taken me 25 years later to be what we're doing now. And it's great to, all you folks are kind of supporting and understanding. It's been difficult historically to get the narrative out there, but now it's so many. Look at Team Pallatrax, over 3,500 people now, and so many of us are, because it's kind of a family, a joint thing. We're not gimmicking it. We're not contriving the narrative in any way, shape or form. It is what it is. So, yes, you'd enjoy it, but it is full on. It's full on. But it's all the foods, and we even supply you with a green tea. It's a good long day, and it can be longer if people want 24-hour sessions and things like that. So, right, time is up. So, in regards to the competition, I say, because Tinny's still trundling back from Exeter University, I'll get her to draw it as soon as she comes in and put it on both the team page and here on the main Pallatrax page. But before I go, let's just go back. So that's why I love the team. It does what it says on the tin. Yeah, well, like I say, I truly think it's amazing, Team Pallatrax, because we've got all these people gravitating who are just like us. We're all the same. We're not. There's no ego or arrogance. If people are that way, they tend not to stay within the team. It's just a lovely bunch of people of all sexes, of all ages, and of all experience, on all species, just coming together and celebrating angling, but at the same time being very, very mindful that practices potentially can be very negative. Like, the people who told us, the sport, to drop lead, I personally think they should be held to account. It's absolutely mad, because nobody has ever thought that a lead discharged into substrate, or if they have, they've certainly not investigated, actually creates damage to substrate life. So, I thank you, Sue. Thank you, Sue. I've learned a lot about eating sweets. Me and Sue and sugar have a torrid affair, don't we, Sue? But no, Sue's great company. I really enjoy fishing with Sue. And as you say, we work together as a tag team. We do, we kind of really enjoy that element of fishing, and that's what the team is all about. You know, obviously I didn't know Sue before, and now Sue's an investor in the company, so really kind of things change massively, and she's coming to the trade show in Budapest with me in 3 weeks' time. So yeah, it's interesting when you get involved and get deeper and involved in the industry. But the one thing we must never ever lose sight of is we need to be making sure that we don't open ourselves to any critique. And there is stuff going out there dumping lead. Can you imagine if the public knew that we would, you know, we're talking thousands of tons across Europe now. But hey ho, at least you've got things like Evolve Tackle. That's somebody I can shout out about. They've just brought out a brand new non-toxic range of fishing weights here in the UK. And there's people like UFO, Dinsmore's in the UK. So there's lots of non-toxic options. Hand on heart, what would I do if I didn't have stones? And the stones obviously are a game changer for me. They've revolutionised the way it certainly is, Sue. Been looking at the restaurants over there, some good restaurants, Sue. We'll have to feast. Haven't found your cheesecake. In Las Vegas, just going off, I did 2 shows in Las Vegas. Do you know what, in Las Vegas? They've got something called the Cheesecake Factory. And it's a restaurant of cheesecakes, and I love cheesecake, but I digress again. So, no, Paul, I agree with you. Never too old to learn. Every day is a school day, and we're all learning together. And if I can bring things that people, you know, start to realise it's not about me flogging stuff, it's about me saying, well, look, this is where I ended up because I've been doing what I've been doing. And if people can utilise that and take it within their own fishing and, you know, do whatever with it, it can only be a good thing, because fishing should only be positive. You know, I hate the fact that on some sites and one thing or another, there's that negative context, and that's why it's fishing. It's about enjoying something that I've enjoyed since I was basically 5 years old, and caught my first stickleback from a burn up in Scotland. So there you go. That's how long I've been doing it. And I don't do it for anything other than pleasure and the friendship and all the kind of positives that come with fishing. I'm not into stars and all that lot. It's not what we so what are you going to take Pom in for at the trade? Thank you, Matthew. But right, what I'll do now is I'm going to zoom back before I close. Thanks for keeping me company, everybody. So let's get in close and have a look. So what you'll see over time, and what I'll probably do is I'll just leave this and I'll put it up on the team page later, and put it on here as well if I can. Oh my God, what have I done now? So basically, it does very much come down to water temperature. So what you've got there is you will see that slowly, tiny bits of gamma shrimp that are in that powder fall. And because of the consistency of the glyc, it almost sits on like a dinner plate of basically food. The hook's masked, as you can see, and you know that basically eventually, so they can have it as the bottom bait, and then your next trial is, and it still contains the paste, because it's actually oh, Charlie's done a winner for me. You star, Charlie. So I'll come back and tell you who's won the prize. So yes, so hopefully you'll see why that makes sense. And the fact is, not just about the consistency. Oh, my fingers made it all gone. Oh, now look, it's all gone out of focus. But basically, it's what it's made of, folks. And like I say, you can do exactly the same, say a multi-worm boilie, really holistic, drill a hole out, use the paste again to basically make sure it holds round. And then when everything here, when all of this breaks down, you're still going to be left with a bait. And within that bait, you're still going to be left with something that takes even longer to break down. You can manipulate it, you can do loads of things with it. I mean, obviously water temperature is the key factor. If it's really cold, it takes longer to break down. If it's really warm, it will take quicker to break down. But I promise you, no gimmick, if you sit there and judge and jury it yourself and say, is that something that's worth having a look at? I honestly, you know, like I say, the trouble is I always feel kind of, people say to me, you're a good salesman. And it's not, I don't do this to sell. I do it to try and bring something to the party for people, and if you embrace it, you just get the same results. Look at Matt today, you know, he just smashed his PB. Alan, who came down here the other day, smashed his PB. So many people are embracing that there is a narrative that doesn't follow the mainstream. It's not when I say performance over profit, of course, as a business, I have to make some profit, or we wouldn't be here at all. But when I'm developing things, I don't sit there and go, I sit there and go, how much can I get in that pot? Not, well, if I take 10 grams off that over the course of the year, I'm going to save myself 25 kilos and that 25 kilos. No. Let's fill it up as much as we can, do it as, viable as we can. So it's not out the reach. Because these things are really expensive, to be fair. But when I'm not putting anything out of the reach, truth be told, they should be a lot more expensive. But it's not that kind of party for me. Each their own. And if people are that way inclined in business, they probably will always be far more financially successful than me. But I think we're very rich here. We've got a genuine opportunity to use products that, as somebody said earlier, it's a game changer. So, right, let me just, gonna come to this and then, hang on a second, folks. Good products themselves. Yeah, I think you're right, Steve, to be fair. That's the way I work. If it's good, consistently good, you get consistent reviews. There's got to be some truth to it. Things scaled down for quality, not profit. Yeah, I'm like I say, I'm very cynical. Having had the shops, that gave me a deep insight. And then doing all the trade shows I've done all over the world and things like that. And you do sit there and sometimes you think, that's just to make money. And then because I know where it's come from, which factory in China or whatever, and I know how much it's cost, you do think, it's not the way I want to do things anyway. I'm happy doing it, and obviously lots of people kind of we're all in it together kind of thing. So right, so the winner tonight for all of those goodies. So what did they win? They won the silkworm, the strawberry glug, strawberry booster, because you can spray that into there and make it even more, spray into the glug and really, really scream out. Because what you're doing is obviously you're trying to get things to scream out to the fish's olfactory system so they can sniff it on the water, so to speak. And last but not least are a couple of packets of what I know is creating huge shockwaves through the industry. Nobody ever thought there could be another hook design, and therefore they weren't looking at it. And obviously grips is a different point design, so therefore a different design of hook. Patterns of the shape, the design is barbed, barbless, and now in the middle we've got so much better fish safety, angler confidence, all those kind of things. We have got grips, and I will shout out about grips because it's all about the fish safety. Just seeing like today, you get those fish, big old fish that Matt's been towed around the lake with, and then the hook falls out in the net. That's to me as the keeper of fish, and they are my main priority. Yeah, it's great stuff. So anyway, I waffle on. I've gone well over time as always. There is, my son's writing is disgusting. Pete Paddock. If you're still here, Pete, you have won that little bundle of goodies. So if you can please, Pete Paddock, please, congratulations, send your name and address details kind of thing to the to me directly if you've got me on Facebook, which is Simon Pomeroy, and I will do that. Sort that out for you and get that off to you. If not, just leave your details here on the Pallatrax messenger page and I'll pick it up from there. So, hey, Pete Paddock, you are still there. Well done, sir. So you can get all sticky with all of this gumbo here. So we'll get that off in the post to you. So do get me your details. Anyway, folks, thanks for hanging in with me. Hopefully it's being of some interest. Like I say, be more creative and like the match angler, work those baits and you will get the rewards. You will get the rewards. Anyway, folks, I'm going off to finish the rest of my cider outside, which is it's like misty and gungy and horrible, but there we go. So, if anybody's got any questions about this feed or anything else about Pallatrax or whatever we're doing, Ashmansworthy Pools, which is obviously a very exciting project and nobody else is running a fishery the way I am. It's great to see it's going from strength to strength. So anything like that, always feel free to reach out to me via the office, email, messenger, whatever. So stay safe, look after yourselves, and I will be back on the team page for my live feed next week with, I'm hoping, one of our Canadian colleagues, either Dan or Galen, will be joining us and talking about their season to date over in Canada. And the following week I'll be back here on the main Pallatrax page, so it's alternate weeks. So good night, stay safe, and I'm going to enjoy that cider. Take care. Good night, folks.